Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's BBCan 10 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Kenny D and Gelsey Kane. Thank you both so much for the support. We really appreciate it, and we could not do this without you, so thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. I need to see something real quick. I feel like, okay, let's turn up this brightness a little bit. Also, my forehead looks huge today. What is going on? But anyway, hope y'all had a great day yesterday. I want to thank our patrons from the other day before we get started, because that is also a fantastic way to support this channel and keep us doing what we're doing. So Adley Bruges and Phenomenal One, thank you so much for your super chats. And we have a super chatter today. Lynn Hurst, thank you so much. And Lynn says, hi, Maddie, any favorites yet? It's a good question. I do have some favorites already. I love Dr. Josh. He's like hanging back right now, not really doing too much, which I think is a smart move at this point. I am enjoying the what are they called again? Man downs. The man downs. I was like, the bad mans? What? Man downs. So Betty, Helena, Summer, and Tanisha. I'm very close to remembering everyone's names like this, but it's still like a little bit murky. But yeah, those are my favorites so far that I can think of off the top of my head. Who are your favorites so far? Let me know in the comments. Let's get started because we have some stuff to catch up on. So when we left off on Saturday, Jay and JC Lynn were up on the block. They were nominated by Marty, and the house guests were waiting for the power veto competition. All right, we also talked about how Helena and Kevin seem to be really tight, like final two tight. I mean, Helena even basically spilled to Kevin about the man down alliance. She didn't tell him like the name of it or anything like that, but she did say that she's cool with Betty, Summer, and Tanisha. I mean, she was basically saying, like, I got something going with them. So Kevin seems very comfortable when talking to Helena, which leads me to believe that his whole, like, woe is me act with other people is just a game tactic from him. I wasn't sure for a little while if that was legit or if he was just gaming, and now I think he was gaming, and he's doing a really good job of it so far. We also saw the other day that Marty was struggling to decide who would be the replacement nominee if necessary, because he's nervous that if JC Lynn were to come down, that Jay could rally the votes to stay. Marty really wants Jay to go because Jay is onto all those guys working together, and Jay is not afraid to express that, which we will see. So Marty was thinking maybe Kevin would go up on the block, but Marty was also considering breaking his deal with Steph and putting her up if necessary. And it seemed like there was a lot of support throughout the house for this move. They're like, you know what? You made a deal with Steph, but whatever. She wouldn't be your target anyway, so who cares? And then we also saw that Moose continues to be messy. He's spreading around this rumor that there's a girls' alliance led by Helena and Betty. And I mean, I think this was just a shot in the dark from him. But he was kind of right. I mean, it's not really led by Helena and Betty, but they're both in it. But he was also saying that JC Lynn, Steph, and Tanisha are in it. And yes, Tanisha is in that alliance, but not JC Lynn or Steph. So to me, it really just seems like Moose is trying to deflect to cover up his guys alliance with Marty, Gino, and Kyle. And guess what? The girls are on to Moose. They know that he's being shady. They know that he can't be trusted. You know what else the house guests are on to? Excuse me. They've realized that one of the locked doors has a countdown clock on it. What's that all about? I guess it's some sort of secret room that's going to unleash a twist, but I don't know when exactly that room will be opened up. I also don't know if they're doing house have-nots this season because I haven't heard anything about it yet. Maybe they're just like, you know what? This doesn't really add that much to the game anyway, so we're just going to get rid of it. I would be okay with that. I don't know that it's really that important anymore. It was fun for a while, and now it's just like, does this really matter? So anyway, there was some drama on Saturday. Of course, this is the first season that I'm taking one day off every week, and all the drama goes down like after I do my last spoiler of the week. So there was some sort of a confrontation between Jay and Kyle that was not shown on the feeds, but we know about it from various retells. Kyle was telling Gino how Jay came up to him in the storage room, and Jay said, "If I stay this week, I'm targeting you," meaning Kyle, "Gino, Marty, Moose, and Herman." And Jay said, "It's super obvious that all you guys are working together, and I'm going to break that up." Damn. Okay, so like obviously Jay is not wrong. All those guys are pretty much working together. But it's not a great move for Jay, who is on the block, to say that directly to Kyle. That's not a good game move. It's interesting and exciting to watch, but it's not good for Jay's game. So Kyle and Gino agree. Of course, Jay has to go this week. We can't have them in here targeting us. All right. So then they had the power veto competition. We're going to come back to that. But they had the power veto competition. And the players were Jay and JC Lynn, because they're the two nominees. And then the three extra players were Helena, Betty, and Josh. So I don't know exactly what this week's power veto competition was yet, but we know that JC Lynn won the power veto. Marty's got to figure out who the replacement nominee is going to be. We'll come back to that later. But first, Jay asks Kyle to chat. So they go to the HOH room, and Jay asks Kyle, like, "Is there anything that you know that can help me stay this week? Like, do you know who the replacement nominee is going to be?" Oh my God. Is Jay actually asking Kyle for help right now after telling Kyle to his face, "I'm targeting you"? So Kyle says, "Well, you did come into the pantry pre-veto and tell me to my face that if you stay, you're gunning for 5 people. I was one of those people. So like, why would I want to help you?" And it starts out lighthearted. I mean, they're both kind of laughing. Jay is laughing and says, "That's a good question. But things can change every day." So Kyle says, "I at least appreciate that you were upfront with me and you told me that I'm a target of yours." And Jay's like, "Yeah, well, I wanted to see if my assumption was correct, that all you guys are working together. And it looks like I was right." So Kyle is explaining, "No, like I have personal connections with those guys. I don't necessarily have game connections with all of them." Right. Okay. So Kyle says, "I don't think it's fair to put me in a box like that. Like working with all those guys." I mean, that's what we're seeing so far. So Jay says, "Tell me I'm wrong." So Kyle says, "I'm not directly working with those guys. I'll look out for them until I can't anymore." Lie. I mean, obviously, Kyle's gonna lie about that, but like, oh, I did not want to see Kyle get into these like bro alliances. Ugh. So Jay says, "Exactly. What's the difference between you guys just looking out for each other until you can't, and an alliance? What, a name? You don't have a name, so it's not officially an alliance." So this conversation started to get kind of tense. And Jay's like, "You're gonna vote me out this week because Marty wants you to." And Kyle says, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to convince you that I'm not directly working with those guys. You're just going to keep spreading that around the house, and that's not good for me." So Kyle asks Jay, "Do you think you're staying this week?" And Jay says, "I think I am." And Kyle says, "Good. I can't wait to be the one to send you home. You didn't win that veto, and you had to." And Jay says, "I don't think I had to." And Kyle says, "No, you did." Jay says, "I have 7 votes. Do they? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But Jay seems pretty confident that they have 7 votes locked in, which is what you would need to stay without the HOH breaking a tie in your favor. But Kyle says, as a fan of the show, like, this is very exciting for me. Like, it's like one of those heart thumping moments. And he can't wait to see what Jay's campaign is going to be this week. And he's like, "I get that the campaign is that you're going to be the one to take out the big ones." And then he does this, like, it's an impression of, like, I would say, like a muscle person or like a giant, where he's like boom, 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 like that kind of thing. That's gonna come up again. But they wish each other good luck. Um, definitely a tense conversation. And then it's time for the retells. So Kyle is definitely shooketh by all of this. First, he's talking to Kevin in the phone room, and Kyle's like, "What am I doing? Why am I acting this way?" Like, he's annoyed by how easy it was for Jay to get under his skin like that. And at one point, Kyle goes and tells like five different people. He's telling five different people about this conversation that he just had with Jay. And he's basically like holding court. It's story time in the purple bedroom. And as he's doing this retell, Jay walks in. But Kyle just continues. And Kyle says, "I just let Jay know that I'm going to make sure that they go home." I don't know if I like this like version of Kyle. I don't like him like this. So Jay asks everybody, "Do you want to hear what actually happened?" So Jay starts telling their side of the story, and they're like, "I read Kyle like a book." Kyle says, "I think Jay deserves to go." Jay was disrespectful during the first power veto competition. And I heard Kyle talk about this with other people too, about how he didn't like that Jay was like trying to just have fun during that POV competition, because remember, Jay had safety the first week, so they were like being goofy and like humping the wall and like all that stuff. And Kyle says it was the Jay show. So Jay says, "Well, Kyle called me fabulous," which he did. I don't think that that was supposed to be a slight in any way, but Jay did not like that. Jay says Kyle disrespected me. Kyle did monkey noises towards me. And Big Brother was like, "Cut the feeds, cut the feeds. We can't have this." So, unless something else happened off of the feeds, I did not hear Kyle make monkey noises at Jay. I believe he was referring to Kyle doing that like muscle person giant impression. It seems like a misunderstanding to me. I really hope that they can work this out, because that's kind of like yikes. Maybe even Big Brother would step in at some point and be like, "That's not what happened," because I don't know, that could have really bad implications. But anyway, Kyle and Jay not in a great place right now. So that was Saturday. Okay, Sunday, slow start to the day yesterday. Around midday, the bros were working out and strategizing. So that was Marty, Moose, Kyle, and Gino. So Moose says, "We should pull in Josh so that we'll have another number." And Kyle's like, "So what? We're just going to pick off all the girls?" He definitely seems shook after the conversations with Jay about all the guys working together. So Kyle says, "We can't do that. All the girls will rally together against us when they realize what's going on. And I don't think that bringing in Josh is a good idea." But this is important to note. 3 out of 4 of the guys in this conversation are in the Savage 7 already with Josh. They already have something established with him. Marty is the only one in this conversation that is not aligned with Josh. So I don't know if they're just like having this conversation to like, like for Marty's benefit. I don't know. But Moose says, "All right, maybe we can bring Josh in later in the game. We don't need to do it right now." So then they discuss potentially bringing in Helena instead. Oh, great. So they're just going to have like, they're just going to bring a girl into the alliance to have a girl in the alliance. But they all feel like they have a good relationship with her because she has been working it with everybody. And Kyle says, with the optics of it all, we're going to have to take a shot at a guy eventually. And he says, "I would rather take a shot at Josh than at Herman." Because again, Kyle's like pretty tight with Herman. I mean, he's working with Josh and Herman, but he's in more overlapping alliances with Herman at this point. So Marty says, "That's all great, but looking towards the next few weeks, the targets are okay, Jay this week, then Jess, then Kevin, and Betty." I don't know if those are all in order, but those are the next targets that Marty's thinking about. So Kyle says, "Yeah, we need to get rid of obvious pawns, because face it, like if we're up next to a pawn, we're going to be the ones going. because we're like the bigger players. Um, so they want to take out all of those pawns. So again, they agree that Jay goes this week. And then for next week, there was some discussion about putting up Betty with Jess. Jess would be the target, but they want to put up Betty because Betty has been terrible in competitions so far. And they want to see if she's genuinely bad or if she's just been throwing stuff. Like maybe when her back is up against the wall, she'll do better. So they want to see what that's all about. But again, Jess would be the target. Kyle says the longer that Jess is in the house, the more dangerous they are, especially if there's an obvious guys thing going on, which there is. Kyle says Jay is going to try and blow this shit up before they leave. I mean, Jess has already been talking about how there's a guy thing going on. Jay has been talking about how there's a guy thing going on. So Kyle just wants to eliminate anybody who is talking about a guy thing going on. And Kyle says once, Jay and Jess are gone, what's standing in our way now? Ugh, wow. I feel like Kyle's getting a little big for his britches here. But Moose was then talking about trying to get Helena or Betty to target Herman. What? Is the Savage 7 BS? Like, is it not a real alliance? Or is this, again, just because they're talking to Marty, who is not in the Savage 7, so they're trying to hide that they're working with Herman? I don't know. But Moose has talked about targeting so many of his allies that I think he's just like not good at this game. I don't know. But anyway, in other news, Kevin was working it yesterday. He was checking in with Helena at one point, and again, these two are super tight. They are open with each other. They are honest with each other. So Kevin says Tanisha is wild. She thinks that she's a genius. She's not. She's not as good at this game as she thinks she is. Kevin does not like Tanisha at this point, but Kevin and Helena agreed they both want to work with Jess. We've seen since the beginning, Helena has been cool with Jess, has been kind to Jess when nobody else really wanted to hang out with them. And Helena has been working on getting Kevin and Jess to talk more. And they did have a game chat, I think it was yesterday. And at one point, Kevin was even like, you really annoy me sometimes, but I do want to work with you. And Jess was like, well, I kind of like that I annoy you. So that's fun. But it's a nice little trio that they're putting together. So yeah, they agree that they both want to work with Jess, even though Kevin says Jess's social game is terrible. But he acknowledges that Jess has great reads on the house. Yes. So then Kevin and Helena were discussing Moose and about how he's messy as hell. They would consider targeting him if they were to win HOH, and they both said that they want to win. We'll see. So Kevin clocks that Moose has something going with Herman, Kyle, Gino, Summer, and Tanisha. So if you look at that lineup, that's the Savage 7 minus Josh. They've almost got that whole alliance figured out. Again, I don't know how legit that alliance actually is anymore, but they're figuring it out. They're putting the pieces together. So then Kevin was talking about how he feels Summer and Tanisha are just everywhere. They're working with everybody. They're in the middle of everything. And he's like, we got to be careful with what we say to them. Kevin is also really nervous about potentially going up as the replacement nominee. He doesn't care who goes up as long as it's not him or Helena. So he is also breaking down his strategy to Helena about how he's trying to get in with people by making them feel like they can control him. He's been doing this whole like, I don't know what's going on. No one will talk to me. I'm not fitting in. Because he wants people to feel like he is going to be so grateful and so loyal to them if they just show him like a little bit of kindness, right? So he's like, I am making emotional connections with people because people tend to make decisions based on emotions, and then they try to rationalize that with logic. And he's making a lot of sense. He's being very smart about this, and it's working. We'll get there. But Kevin and Helena also finalized their final 2 deal in that conversation. I like this duo a lot. I'm just really nervous that Kevin is going to screw over Helena at some point because he kept saying in his pre-show interviews how he's going to be this big villain, he's going to take out Canada's favorites and blah blah blah. Don't do it to Helena. Okay, so let's check in with Marty. Marty is all over the place. It seemed like he was set on nominating Kevin as the replacement nominee, but nah, he's gonna change his mind again. So at one point, Marty was talking to Kyle in the members lounge, and he's still really nervous that Jay will be able to rally the votes to stay against Kevin. So Marty's thinking maybe I should just break my deal with Betty, because apparently he's been telling Betty, you're safe, you don't have to worry, it's all good. They had like some sort of a deal. And he's thinking maybe I just put Betty up, because they can't trust that Betty would vote Jay out because they've noticed that Betty is pretty close to Jay. So they just want to take her vote away, and they feel more confident that Kevin will vote their way for sure and that Jay will go. And I also want to say, I think that Jess had a lot to do with directing Marty towards not targeting or not putting Kevin up as a replacement nominee. Jess was putting in a lot of work for Kevin, and it paid off. So they were also talking about how Betty has been terrible in the competition so far. So Marty is not really that worried about breaking a deal with Betty and like retaliating and like coming after him. She hasn't been doing great in comps, and Kyle says she can't compete her way out of a paper bag. Damn. Okay. So I'm pretty sure also that Betty has been like throwing competitions. I don't think she's actually that bad, but Marty's trying to justify this more and more. And he's like, technically, I'm not really breaking my word with Betty because she's not my target. And I told her that I wouldn't like go after her. So even though I'm putting her up on the block, she's not my target. So it's all good, I don't know about that. But anyway, later, the Man Down Alliance was having a meeting in the red bedroom. So again, that's Tanisha, Betty, Summer, and Helena. And Tanisha says Kevin is spaced out. He's always needing advice from people. He's not some evil mastermind. So, yeah. Tanisha says if we're smart, we will use Kevin's little I'm a lost puppy thing to our advantage. He can be an extra number for us. She's falling for it. So Tanisha says Kevin will remember when he gets power that we haven't been ostracizing him. We just got to keep checking in with him every once in a while, and we'll have him. We'll be able to work with him. Okay, so a little while, you got to know, like, Helena must have been like, hell yeah, during this conversation, just seeing, like, it's all working, it's all paying off with Kevin. So a little while later, Kevin was chatting with Marty in the HOH room, and Marty is not even trying to hide how close he is with Kyle and Gino at this point. He is openly admitting it to Kevin. He was openly admitting it earlier to Jay, which is definitely ammo for Jay to use in their campaign. Just be like, yo, I want to break up that group of dudes. Like, we can't have that trio. So Kevin is giving Marty his view on the house right now. And he says, Summer and Tanisha are with everybody. Uh-oh, he's already turning on them. So he says that Summer and Tanisha are just waiting for the right time to flip the house. Maybe it's this week, maybe not. Kevin is also trying to make sure he's not going to go up on the block because he knows that Marty is nervous about the vote flipping and Jay staying. So Kevin says every week, Summer and Tanisha are the swing vote. They're playing nice for now, but they scare me. Every vote, they're the swing vote. It's week 2, and last week's vote was 11-2. Let's think about this a little bit. I mean, really. But anyway, Kevin also says that Betty and Josh seem to have something, so they got to look out for that. AKA put Betty on the block. Kevin is telling Marty, I trust you. I will put in work for you, and I will fight for you. Kevin's really making sure he's not going to be the renom this week. Okay, So then later, Tanisha and Summer checked in with each other late last night in the phone room. And they were talking about how they know there will come a time when they have to choose between the Savage Seven and their Man Down Alliance, because there's, if they win HOH, one alliance will be expecting them to do something, the other will be expecting them to probably do something else. So they're going to have to show their cards at some point. But Summer says, we are positioned so well in this game right now, but let's be real. We're going to be the first to cut from the Savage Seven. Yeah. Moose is already angling for that. So Tanisha agrees, yeah, we're expendable because we're the only two girls in the group. And she says that's why our thing with Betty and Helena, the Man Down Alliance, is so important. And then Tanisha's saying we also need to keep Kevin in our back pocket. He's already selling you out. Okay, so this morning, that was all last night. This morning, Marty, Kyle, and Gino are chatting in the lounge, and Marty was still planning on putting Betty up as the replacement nominee, and he's going to say, like, oh, I'm trying to take away a potential vote for Jay to stay. Jay is my target, blah, blah, blah. Okay, some other business they were discussing. They all agree that Moose is playing the middle right now, and he's in everyone's ears. They suspect that Moose might want to take a shot at them if he wins HOH. I don't know that that's true, but I could totally see Moose trying to convince someone else to take a shot at these guys. But it seems like Moose is more focused on targeting Herman, Tanisha, and Summer right now. So then Marty's saying, you know what? I'd like to replace Moose in our Bros Alliance with Herman. So he wants it to be Marty, Herman, Gino, and Kyle. No more Moose. And Gino and Kyle seem on board with that. They say they trust Herman more than Moose. Moose floats to power. They don't like the way he's playing this game. He is very sloppy. So actually, a lot of these house guests are really sloppy, but Moose is definitely one of the sloppiest. So they had the power veto ceremony today. JC Lynn used the power veto on herself, as expected, and Marty nominated Betty in her place, which means we have Betty versus Jay up on the block. And as of now, Jay is likely leaving on Thursday. So after the ceremony, Betty is telling JC Lynn, I understand why Marty put me up on the block, but she's kind of feeling like icky about how Marty was telling her all week, you're safe, you can sit back and put your feet up, like you got nothing to worry about. And Marty didn't even warn her that she was going up on the block as the replacement. So she was like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from? She's not feeling good about that. Betty definitely wants to split up Marty, Kyle, and Gino. Please. I'm sick of them already. But Betty is also thinking that Kevin might be partially responsible for her nomination because Marty made it pretty well known that he was planning on putting Kevin up on the block if a replacement was necessary. So Betty is wondering, like, what happened here? Why am I up and not Kevin? So she's not feeling great about Kevin at this point, but I'm just hoping that Betty is not going to spiral over the next few days and get herself evicted. We'll see what happens. We've got 3 days left until the eviction. This season is already so messy. I could see it getting even messier over the next few days. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Are you out there?
Hi.
Yay! Thank you. I want to thank all of our super chatters today.
There must have been a delay.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought I heard you out there, like, waiting.
No, that was him.
Okay. Bowie!
He said, I'm ready to aggressively chew my bone.
Hello, Mr. Licky. Okay, so Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. Susan Kenny. Oh, wait, am I reading the wrong day? Yeah,
Yes.
I am. But Lynn Hurst, thank you so much. Jefferson Tucker, you're on here anyway. Thank you so much. And Jefferson says, Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday indeed. I have to say, that day off that I took yesterday.
Delicious.
I should have started doing that years ago because if I hadn't taken that day off today, I would have been like
hating life.
Yes. Angela H. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Angela says, I don't have a way to watch BB Canada, so I'm keeping up with your updates. Thank you. Oh no. You can totally watch the episodes either live or they're archived after on videobrother.net.
And Paramount too.
No. So there's old seasons on Paramount Plus right now, but they aren't putting up the current season yet, which is a total freaking bummer. And I feel like they would widen their audience so much if they put up the episodes in real time, but unfortunately they're not doing that. So check out videobrother.net. Yes. And then for the live feeds, honestly, the best way to do it is just to get a VPN, set it to Canada, and watch the live feeds on the Big Brother Canada website. That's how you do it. But thank you all so much, and thank you everybody for being here.
So you don't need a VPN
to watch the
unless
episodes.
you want to watch the feeds.
Right, to watch the feeds, you need a VPN. Or honestly, I'm not gonna drop their name on here because I don't want them to get shut down or anything. But there is some amazing person on YouTube
Yes,
that uploads pretty much like all of the live feeds.
Just
search and you will find. So she's amazing. All right, thank you all so much for being here, and until next time, much love. See you for tonight's episode recap. Bye.